I drank out of this cup.
I know who it is. I took it from in there.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our City Commission meeting tonight. We will start with the roll call. Deborah?
Certainly. Mayor Brook,
Here.
Commissioner Sarah, Commissioner Vignola, Commissioner Simmons.
Here.
Vice Mayor Carter.
Present.
City Manager Goodrum.
Here.
City Attorney Hearn.
Here.
Great. If everybody would please rise and join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. We have tonight with us, leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, Zachary Canacaril. Zachary, if you'll step up to the mic, we're ready when you are.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job, Zachary. So we have a little present for you. Looks like it might be a little big, but we'll grow into it. So nice to meet you, Zachary. How are you? You did a wonderful job. So here's your shirt, and we're going to get a picture together if you come over here. All right, and Zachary, would you be kind enough to shake everybody's hand so they can say hi? Right over here. You can come right here in the front. Public comment? Yeah.
Budget hearing first and then recognition.
This is second reading public.
And Zachary is a fourth grader at Mary Help of Christians. Thank you for being here tonight. Nice to meet you. So JJ, before public comment, Catherine's going to make a presentation.
Actually, if anyone from the public is going to speak on any of the items or anything they'd like to, that's not part of the final millage rate or the budget passage, they could do that right now. Then Catherine's going to come up and give the presentation, and then there's public hearings on both those items.
Gotcha. Okay. So is there anyone from the public that wishes to be heard?
Mayor, I actually have two signed speakers this evening.
Fantastic.
The
Great.
first one, Areli Lozano. Areli? Nope. How about Jose Bellin?
Jose is here.
Bellin.
So good to see you, Jose.
Great to see you as well. Thank you, Mayor Brook, and hello to the City Commission. My name is Jose Belen. I reside at 4052 Devonshire Court in Coconut Creek, Florida. I'm here tonight to support Mayor Brook and also as an ambassador to the veteran community here. I'm a combat vet. I was part of the initial invasion into Iraq in 2003. I enlisted right after high school, graduated in 2001. June, a few months later, September 11th happened. With that, I was tasked to secure Baghdad with my unit, 2nd Battalion, 3rd Field Artillery Regiment, Old Ironsides, 1st Armored Division. Got to Iraq when I was 20, left when I was 22 years old. I turned 21 and 22 in combat. I lost my best friend, my lieutenant, 2 days before Christmas. Witnessed the death of a 7-year-old girl, civilian, and also the closing of her eyes. On top of that, came home in 2005, honorably discharged, and began a now almost 15-year battle with post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm a father, husband, son, community member. The fight that I had in Iraq came home with me. I stand here, many of you may look at me and say, okay, what could be wrong with this guy? We have invisible wounds when we come home. Veterans don't ask for much, we ask for peace and for understanding. Unfortunately, we're losing a veteran to suicide every 65 to 72 minutes. That's over 8,000 a year. I myself was almost one of those suicides on a number of occasions. I still struggle to this day. I stand before you as the voice of the voiceless. I come here to bring hope to the hopeless, but I can't do it alone. We have over 20 million veterans in this country, over 1.5 million in the state of Florida. Mayor Brook, I commend you for the relationship that you've developed with me, not seeking anything other than genuine support of my mission, which is Mission Zero. It's the name of my nonprofit to end veteran suicide. But we got to do it together. So I just come here, as a veteran, community member, with open arms, and I'm here for you, for the community. We've already seen the fallout of Marjorie Stoneman. We've already lost 2 students. That right there for me is just, it breaks my heart. Those children didn't deserve that. This community didn't deserve it. My war zone was 3,000 miles away. This community's war zone was 15 minutes away. So we can't lose any more students to suicides or veterans, and I'm here to help.
Thank you, Jose. Jose, if people wanted to get in touch with you at Mission Zero, how would they get in touch with you, and do you have a website?
Yes, please send an email to info@missionzero.us, and that's all spelled out. And our website is www.missionzero.us.
Great, and Jose, I don't know if you've met Harry Rosen, Mayor Rosen, former mayor of Weston, in the front row with his wife Jackie, but they're here to actually receive a proclamation about Suicide Prevention Month, so you should certainly connect with them and them with you.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service to our country.
If I may, please. Jose, thank you for your service as well. As a son of a U.S. service member, I remember being in middle school and having to, my mom called me from somewhere and having to be her counselor as a middle school student when she wanted to tell me about, she had no one else to really talk to and tell me about some of the things that she saw or happened and how much it affected her. And so the strength that you have to speak to us today and kind of go through some of those things that you've witnessed, I really appreciate you sharing that with us. It is atrocious what we do to our veterans, or what we don't do for our veterans when they come home. We support the troops. We say we support the troops and we support everybody, and we should. But that support shouldn't end when you come home and you're no longer seeing combat. So I commend you for your fight. I commend you for finding a new mission. I commend you for trying to be a bridge builder for those that don't have the voice that you have to make a difference in their lives. So thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. Good to see you. Did Orelli come in? Okay. Welcome.
Nurse and Mayor. I apologize if I break into a cough. I'm dealing with some bronchitis, so please bear with my breathing.
Well, if you can let us know your name and your address.
Yes, my name is Arely Lozano, and my address is 8261 Northwest 36th Street, Sunrise, Florida, 33351. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Food for All Broward Initiative and the support of the mayor signing the mayor's pledge for that. I am the manager of the initiative, and we have been working for about almost 2 years in Broward County. We originally were working with 14 municipalities that were just selected for various reasons for the first cohort to drive some municipal changes in terms of policy and systems changes that could benefit food access for the communities in Broward County. Since then, we're seeking to expand from those 14 municipalities since we've had some great success. Some comprehensive plans, updates, some land use elements that have been really looked at to consider food access as a way of mitigating health and well-being benefits for community members in different cities. And for that reason, we are now in the process of seeking additional funding and other opportunities to expand the project. What we are asking of Mayor Brook to do and the commission to support is to sign a pledge, which is non-abiding, is just a commitment to engage in communication with the Food for All Broward Initiative and our partners, including other municipalities in the county, to learn more about what we've been working on in the last 2 years, get some of your experience and feedback here in the beautiful city of Coral Springs, and learn from what you all are working on that we could support with our technical assistance. So I met with the mayor a couple weeks back and presented some of the cool things that we've been working on, and today he said that he was going to be presenting to you or talking to you about the possibility of signing the mayor's pledge, and I just wanted to come in support of that, answer any questions, and offer my presence for further discussion about food access, because that's what I do and love to do, and I believe that the more people have healthy access to healthy food, the better our communities are, and the more thriving economies we can flourish. So thank you so much for having us, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Aurelie, this is, you've given this to the clerk? but
Correct.
Food for All Broward and Mayor's Pledge?
Correct.
Yeah, so it'll be up to the commission for them to support that.
So just take a look at it and let us know.
Have it? I don't have it.
Oh,
I'd sent it to your assistant.
okay. Well, I will pass this to the clerk so she
Thank you
can
very much.
make sure everybody gets this, and they'll take a look at it when they can, if you can pass that down.
All right, it's short and sweet, and like I said, it's just a commitment to continue the conversation and keep talking about food access and how to improve it in Coral Springs.
Well, thanks for what you're doing for the community, Aurelie.
Thank you all for what you do every day.
You're welcome. Would anybody else from the public like to be heard about something other than the budget? Yes, come on up.
Hello, everybody. My name is Abe Friedman. I'm at 8500 Royal Palm Boulevard, Coral Springs. One
evening,
thing I
Abe.
wanted to speak about was, I think sometimes our commission has a lack of feeling for the fact that we're having a larger and larger proportion of senior citizens as part of the population of Coral Springs. I know that some people have tried making connections. I know Commissioner Parry was in to speak to the Veterans Group, and sometimes somebody or other has spoken, and Mayor, you've been there too before you were elected. But I think some people where I live, I think they feel more like we're living on an island of Coral Springs off the coast of Florida, separated from the city of Coral Springs. So I wish we can do something to make people aware of places like where I live at Park Summit, other institutions, senior citizens, make them aware of what Coral Springs has to offer and what they can do to volunteer, cooperate, and so forth. So I'm just really appealing to the commission. I know there have been representatives that came, but I wish we can find a way to coordinate this better. I know Monica from Police Department has come, you've come, and that's the appeal I'd like to make. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being here, Abe, and thank you for making the invitation. Vice Mayor, did you want to share?
Abe, thank you for speaking. I just wanted to comment that one of the initiatives the Senior Advisory Board is making is the age-friendly initiative. So I think that'll go a long ways in helping accomplish what Abe wants, but I'm sure there's more we can do as well.
Thank you. And I'll be coming to visit soon, Abe. I'll make a plan tomorrow. So thank you for coming. And thanks for being here as often as you are. I think it's wonderful. Anybody else from the public like to be heard? Okay, seeing none, public comment is closed. So we're next on to our budget and public hearing, Resolution 2019-051, fiscal year 20, final millage rates.
Right, Mayor. And what we're doing here now, Catherine Gibbons is going to give a presentation that's going to cover the final millage rate and the approval of the budget, which is one of the most important things this commission does with these two motions. After the presentation, we will have Resolution 2019-051, the final millage rate, which must occur first before budget. And each one of these two items will have a public hearing attached to it. So Ms. Gibbons is here.
Thank you. Hello, Catherine.
Hello, thank you. Alrighty, I'll give it a minute before the presentation comes up. So much time has gone on and thought has been dedicated to the preparation of the 2020 budget. When we think back to December, when the planning session happened with the commission, to then when the budget team then went back in February, had a baseline budget. Then we came back to you and talked to you in the spring, in April, to have our budget workshop. And then coming back in June, July. Sprinkling in, of course, one-on-one briefings with each of you until last week when we had the first budget hearing. There's been a lot of thought and preparation going into where we are today. And to our residents, there's been multiple times for their input as well. One way that we've really pushed this year, with the help of Liz's team in communications and marketing, we've been producing budget videos to push out to residents and businesses so that the information in a 300-page budget book is possibly a little bit more consumable. And we've gotten over 3,500 views of that. So I'm really proud of the partnership that we've done there. I will say the 300-page book is still a good read, might I add. But to those people that might just want to only dedicate 3 minutes, then they can go online and look at those couple series of budget videos. We value so much of the time and input that you've made. To my staff, they're amazing, and they make this, each of them have contributed so much to the process. To the department directors and their staff, and Mike, this wouldn't be possible without them. And to you, the commission, thank you so much for your service in this process, as you've given us the strategic plan that has guided the way for the budget to be created. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll go through these slides, but a lot of work has been dedicated to this, and I just wanted to give it a little bit of time and weight to that.
Thank you.
I may need Matt's assistance in the back to click through some of the slides for me. So Matt, if you wouldn't mind to keep going to the next slide. There we go. The proposed city budget is $253.4 million. We have 11 funds that we manage and 873 positions that we're looking in the 2020 budget. Our vision is serving with excellence, innovation, and integrity. And when you look at the new items into the budget, then the budget theme is concentrating on innovative projects that lead to operational efficiency, public safety enhancements for staffing and equipment, infrastructure and drainage upgrades, grant opportunities, investing in our future. So as I said, there are some new items in this budget, and this is a very abridged version of that. For a deeper read, this is the proposed annual budget, and if you go to page 121, you will start having a deeper dive into each project that we're dedicating ourselves to, a description and how much funding is required for that. So if you're wanting to have a little bit more of information on that, that's where you would go. Just a highlight, we are investing in turf fields, 7 of them, splash pad, landscape operational enhancements, pickleball courts, ADA intersection upgrades, funding for road resurfacing program, continued median improvements, fire station replacement, Station 64, body-worn cameras and in-car LPRs, 3 additional firefighter paramedics, police replacement equipment, firefighter paramedic equipment, and a conversion of a part-time to full-time person. And our police department, the community involvement liaison. So those are some of the items that we're adding into the 2020 budget, as well as keeping the same level of service that we're having and increasing upon it. Those residents and current and future business owners, rating agencies really like to see the fact that we put out what the status of our reserves are and the fact that we continue to meet our 17% stabilization fund requirement. As we talked about at our last budget meeting, we have the financial policies, which we will be looking in that column of stabilization fund to move that to 17 to 25% as a range. So this is what we have as of our last CAFR report. And you'll see 2019 will go in under, our auditors will come in, and at that point then we'll have the 2019 numbers to be able to add to this. But we are dedicating funding going toward reserves going forward. Also, Hurricane Irma. This is something that's a little bit outside of the operating budget right now. Right now, we have received about $738,000 back from Hurricane Irma. We have still outstanding about $8.5 million for our debris and our emergency protective measures. So that is something we are working with. Alex Falcone is doing an excellent job continuously talking to our representative to be able to try to get that money in. We're going to move to the next slide, which is our 5-year forecast. Matt, I might need your help on that one as well. We're thinking about it. I'll talk about the 5-year forecast while it's coming up, because we've talked about it before, and it's something that we're very proud of. Our 5-year financial forecast is financially stable. It's positive. When you look at our bottom line to it, it's, there we go. It's a lot of numbers on the slide, so again, I'll continue just talking about it. If you look at that bottom line, you're not going to see a negative in front of anything, and that's the most important piece that that people want to be looking at. How are you handling the future? What do we think that future will look like, and how are we planning for it? At this point, it is a conservative view. We only know what we know today, so we don't know if there are going to be unfunded mandates. That's not present here. Tariffs on goods, the price of goods and things like that could change, but that's why we look at this every year, and we look at the outlying years as well. So we know adjustments will need to be made, but it's very good to keep us disciplined to that 5-year forecast and making sure that any of our recurring items still stay in a marginal level. So what went into it? Let me answer you here. The revenue growth average we are seeing is around 2.8%. You'll see it higher in the current 2020 year, but overall the growth average is 2.8%. We're going to continue merit increases at a rate that we can afford at 3%. We're going to continue managing vacancies and restructuring opportunities as available. We'll also be looking at other opportunities that we could look at putting other departments restructuring. So for the example of emergency management, that's something that we've done in the city manager's office as well as the innovation side. We'll be sharing the cost of healthcare with employees at a rate of 87 to 13% cost share, with the goal going down to 80-20 in 2023. The operation contracts average at a rate of 4%. We've adopted the financial policies which guide the overall fiscal management and planning for city services, increasing the stabilization fund. A couple things on capital to highlight. We are establishing recurring CIP plans for the general fund at a 75% funding level, and for the fire fund as well. We're funding 1/3 of our capital requests that we're receiving in. I will note that there are no additional funding in this budget that we have seen from Broward County Surtax, so that's not in the 2020 budget. However, we're continually forming a plan for our capital. What we also have done is adopt a stormwater assessment, and at that point, we're addressing capital for stormwater there as well. So in 2022, what you'll see is a series of millage increases every other year to keep up with the cost of business that we're seeing, and the one overall conversation that we've heard from some businesses, it's good to know what the city is planning on doing in outlying years so they can plan as well. So we do just want to make sure that we're getting out the information. So that's our 5-year forecast. When we look at the other cities and their operating millage rate and what the comparison is, I put a number of slides, a number of cities on this one. You can see a lot of cities are keeping their same millage rate this particular fiscal year. Some cities are going up a little bit. One is, I believe, going down, but this is that look. Again, if you want to look at all 31 municipalities and where we line up, then that is on this slide. And here we are today talking about the proposed millage rate. The proposed millage rate that staff is recommending is the 5.8732. Any millage rate above the rollback rate is considered a millage increase, even though you are keeping the millage rate the same. So what is that? The impact for the average single-family home is $235 on their tax bill. As far as the ad valorem is concerned, it's only $62 increase in ad valorem dollars. How much is it bottom line come down to? It's under $20 a month increase. So how much of their tax bill goes to the city of Coral Springs? 30%. was the largest piece of their tax bill, the Broward County Schools, and then Coral Springs, and then Broward County, and then you can see from so on and so forth. But that is truly the one piece that I generally have to talk to our residents, just letting them know the entire tax bill doesn't go to the city of Coral Springs. There are multiple agencies that do receive that funding. So this is the journey that we have been on. There have been many notable events that have happened in that time. Again, in the very beginning, I cited starting back in January. Looking forward, in the next 3 weeks, we'll start the conversation again with strategic planning coming up for us as well. With that being said, I appreciate everybody's time, and that is our 2020 annual budget.
Okay, are there any questions of Catherine? All right, this is a public hearing. Thank you very much, Catherine.
So maybe we're going to take them one at a time. I'll read Resolution 2019-51. It's a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Coral Springs adopting, certifying, and levying a millage rate of $5.8732 on tangible personal property and accessory property located within the municipal limits of the City of Coral Springs, Florida, which is $0.2728 or 4.87% more than the rollback rate of $5.6004 mils, and establishing a debt service millage rate of $0.2534 for fiscal year 2019-2020, providing for an effective date. There's a request to hold a public hearing and adopt, and this is the one, Mayor, if someone wanted to talk about the actual rate of the millage, they should come up now. If they would like to talk about how the money's being spent, they should come up in the next item, which is also a public hearing.
Okay. All right, it's a public hearing. Would someone like to be heard? Yes, please come on up. Welcome, and please let us know your name and address.
My name is Harvey Brooks. My address is 637 Northwest 99th Terrace. I'm also a 21-year combat vet, retired combat vet.
Thank you for serving, Mr. Brooks.
Thank you. My question here, because I missed last week's meeting. I was caught up in the county taxes. In the last 2 years, my ad valorem went from $400, $500 to now $1,000. Last year was dealing with Irma, so it was a $300 and something increase. This year is a $250 increase. And I see on the budget, the millage rate wants to project to go up every other year, a percentage, 0.15 was it? When I had to increase the first year, 2017-18, because I live on the canal, and it said that because I lived on the canal, I would pay a little more, and it was based off the hurricane. My question then was, we didn't have a hurricane for what, a decade or something before then? And where was the money then? Was it being moved to other accounts? Or was it used for this beautiful building? I don't know, but in the 2 years, for my admin to go from $400, $500 to $1,000, it's kind of steep just for those taxes. And to hear that there's really no fiscal restraint when you look at a projection of going every other year, adding more millage rate. And I know a lot of that also deals with per capita as personnel in the city. How many people you have in that city that's taxpayers and land. So other cities might have lower rates because they might have more people per se. I don't know what the numbers here in Coral Springs are. But that's my concern, that I don't see fiscal constraint. I see 2007-08 all over again. Right now I see 2003 to 2005, the inflation of houses, of land. I see that we are going into a recession. We're heading that way. If you look at what's going on, they just lowered the interest rate. These are all signs of a cycle. And when we had that last recession, a lot of cities got hurt because the value of homes went down, so your tax went down. So we're projecting 5 years, and if you're not looking at what's going on right now, I think you should have more fiscal restraint. Plus, we had senior citizens here where he stated that Coral Springs have a lot of senior citizens. So we have to look at what we would do to the senior citizens on these taxes increase.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. I do like your last name. I appreciate your sentiments. I think we have exercised fiscal restraint. And as I shared at the last meeting, and I'll be frank and open with you and our citizens, I had served for about 8 years in the past, and I believe that we may have made a mistake actually having not been not maybe had the political courage to really take a hard look at the numbers and anticipate where we might be and what our needs might be when the economy hit us in 2008. So between those 8 years, we actually lowered the millage rate. But I think that may have been honestly one of the reasons that my colleagues before me had to make a tough decision, which they did. And again, to be honest, if I were here, I hope I would have had the courage to make the tough decision that they did a couple of years ago. Not exactly sure how your 500 went to 1,000 just here in Coral Springs. I'd be happy for Catherine or Tyler outside to potentially explain that. And if any of my colleagues wants to add something, I would appreciate it. And we're not thrilled, you know, that we are keeping the millage rate the same. Ideally, I think all 5 of us would somehow love to lower the taxes and still maintain the services. In this particular budget, to go to the rollback rate, we'd actually have to cut $2.8 million from the budget. And we looked long and hard about where we can cut, and there are a few things that we cut, but also given the demand for the services in the city that we live, which I think we pride ourselves on excellence, and we're continuing to strive for improvement. We feel good about this and what we at least decided at the first budget hearing and had talked about it a couple of meetings before. I do appreciate what you have to share. I would love for you to be involved in any way you can with our city in the months to come, whether it's the Citizens Government Academy, sharing ideas to, you know, make us maybe more prudent or more efficient. We welcome them. And I think it takes courage to come here and share what you shared, so I appreciate that as well. So that is my cordial and warm reply to you. I don't know if any of my colleagues would like to share.
So thank you for coming and sharing. I was a part of that commission that made the large tax increase a few years ago, and it sucked. I'm not going to lie, it was terrible, and we're raising it not only on people we don't know, but also on, you know, our friends, our family, ourselves. But we felt at the time, and I still feel like we expect certain services here in Coral Springs. You know, when you look around the county, when people go ahead and pick up the phone and dial 911, they don't get the same level of service that we do here in Coral Springs. There's a lot of different things that happen that the city, you know, you expect certain services and we provide here. As far as living on the canal, I think where you're confused a little bit there is the fact that Coral Springs Improvement District sounds like it's the city of Coral Springs. That's actually not the city of Coral Springs. That's the water district that handles both the water utility and the drainage district on the south end of town, which I also live in, and that did go up quite a bit last year. I believe your total ad valorem that you're adding up is not just the city of Coral Springs in that jump. I believe that's across the board on multiple different facets, whether it's school board, county, the water district, and the city. And if you want, we can have staff go ahead and talk to you and kind of break that down with you and look up your actual trim notice and kind of point out what exactly goes to the city.
I had that conversation, and for this year, the main concern, I guess, the additional taxes was stormwater. They didn't have stormwater last year, and I think it was like $127 for stormwater. The other ones was a little fire, and that was like $9 increase. But there were some major increases last year. This year, like I said, stormwater was the add-on. Yes, you have the 3 water districts. And my question to the individual was, if you cannot control, I think that's what the individual told me, that if they can't control the price increases on these areas, I have to question that because you have to have a contract with the city. And the city has to have something in place to say that you can only go a certain amount. I was a prior council person up in Central Florida. So for them to say that you have no control, water companies, I can't understand that. I mean,
Mayor,
if it's not, then.
if I may.
it has to
Sure.
be-
If I may, they're an independent district. We have no control over them and no regulatory authority over them whatsoever. They're created by the state, just like the municipality is. So we actually have, although it sounds like Coral Springs Improvement District, we don't have any control over them whatsoever with their rates. That's legally, we don't have the authority to have that control.
You say you don't have the authority?
No, we have no legal authority to have control over an independent district, correct?
Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Thank you.
Does anybody else like to be heard on this? Please come on up.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Robert Fogel, 10991 Northwest 12th Drive in Coral Springs.
Good evening.
I've been here 30 years now in Coral Springs. When we came down here, we looked at my wife, which some of you know my wife, Fogel, Deneen. She was a 22-year volunteer for the school system in various different leadership roles. And I played a back behind the scenes type, you know, helping her out, doing whatever I needed to get done at the particular time. Phones, they're terrible. This city was the bright, shining star of Broward County. And anybody who knows or has been here as long as I've been here, and I know a few of you have been here as long as I've been here, this city was fantastic. My wife, who is an educator, graduate of Ohio State. I'm not a big lover of her. You see, I'm a U fan.
I like that.
That kind of hurt me, but I accepted the fact that she's an Ohio State graduate, and she's a big person, an advocate for education. So she looked at the state of Florida, and the second best city for schools was Coral Springs. Damn, I said, you know, I had to travel almost an hour to get to work in Perrine every day. I'm a Bronx boy, and one of the things that I didn't hear or haven't heard in a while in this city, and I mentioned it to Sean before, is the word passion. I think we lost our passion here in this city. We've allowed certain things to happen that shouldn't happen, and I've left the list with Ms. Gibbons over there and Sean, and I'll be glad to discuss that list with you. I'm not going to go through it now. It's not as important to tie up everybody's ears. The fact of the matter is that we have not identified and put out the passion that we need for the city. Now, we can go through budget things, and I'll be glad to participate in budgets. I wrote budgets all my life. It's a projection. What's important is the budget versus actual. That's what's important. And how are we performing in all categories of this city? Now, it's important to understand who we are, what we're trying to do. And I just want to embed upon you. I know that this is your jobs. Some of them have, I can't believe that he's doing two things. This is a full-time job, and he goes to work every day in the school system. And that's not easy in Broward County lately, but I'm going to tell you, I know. I get it all the time, what's going on with the school system in Broward County, from a personal point of view. But budgets are meant to be met, and budgets are meant to be, did I go over my time limit?
Your time is up, Mr.
Okay,
Fogel.
I'm going to end with that. You guys know who I am, or now you do. And it's important to understand that you need to get passion back in this city
I got you.
and correct some of the nonsense that's going on.
Thanks for being here, Mr. Fogel. I saw at least one other hand. Please come on up.
Good evening. My name is Julio Barea. I live at 5285 East Leitner Drive in Coral Springs. I usually don't come to these meetings. Actually, it's my first one. But I read the newspapers few days ago, kind of jumped out of my chair when I saw a budget going up 6%. Been a businessman for many, many years and run very large corporations. And I'm not used to seeing budgets that I approved going up 6%. Now, I appreciate Catherine's presentation and all the beautiful things that she showed on the screen. But I also know that we have fixed income citizens in this city. And no one is going to get a 6% increase in their income next year. No one. Social Security might go at 2.1 depending on inflation. Catherine put up there a 3% merit increase, which is 50% higher than inflation. In my opinion, the budget needs to be revisited, because then I looked at the general fund projection for next year at 2.1%. So what I say is, why do we have to hit it so hard one year and then go down the next year, then to go up 3.8% in 2021? Why don't we smooth out these ups and downs to be able to allow the people that have to pay for all this, because it goes into the millage? I don't want to get into that. The source of all this is the budget. Why don't we smooth it out to give time for the fixed income folks? And those that are getting, they get 3%, which is pretty good considering that there's 2.1 inflation. And the Social Security people will not get 3%. So I'm asking, I know you guys have approved it, I know you guys have reviewed it, but in my opinion, it'd be a better and more fiscal responsible approach if you leveled it up instead of hitting us with a 6% expense increase in 1 year. It's actually 5.8, but the newspaper said 6%. So I'm just asking you, I know you probably won't change it, but I wanted to give you my opinion.
I appreciate
Thank
you being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, go right ahead.
As I stated last meeting, yes, the previous commission made a really tough decision to go after a very large increase. But that was just step one. And we're still not where we need to be. And so, unfortunately, we're still going to have to make tough decisions going forward. Doesn't mean we're ignoring you, doesn't mean we don't understand, doesn't mean that we don't hear you. I mean, as the mayor stated earlier, we would absolutely love to just roll back everything. But that's not what's in the best interest for the city as a whole. And I just want you to know that we do hear you, and that we aren't making this decision. We're not out here trying to, move money around or do anything dark and wicked with the money. We're just trying to make sure that we are on a really, really solid standing. And so that is going to be uncomfortable for everyone. Like I said last meeting, I'm a school teacher. We're paid 45th in the nation. I don't make that much money. But I made enough to be able to scrape enough together to get a home, my first home. And I haven't even been elected for a year. And these are the numbers that I'm looking at. My money isn't going in, my money's not going up anywhere. But this is not about me. It's about the entire city. And so I have to keep that in mind, and we all do while we're up here, is that we know that it's tough. And everybody's not gonna like it. We're not super fond of it, but it's in the best interest of the city. And I hope everybody hears that.
You can, Julio. You may.
It just doesn't have to be that way.
You should come to the mic, Mayor.
Yeah, you gotta come to the mic.
Yeah, this way, Julio, if you don't mind, this way everyone can hear you.
Sure, I don't mind at all. All I'm saying is, and I understand where you're coming from, but I know there's projects that can be postponed 1 year. I'm not saying you eliminate it. I'm just saying postpone them. Don't hit the city with a 6%. I mean, that's, in my opinion, not a good business practice. And you guys, whether you call commissioners or mayors, are business people running a $253 million business. Okay? And to me, the payers hurt. You get 3 this year, you get 3 next year, you get 3 this year, you get 4 next year. It doesn't have to be that way. That's all I can say, because I understand the need, but I understand the process. I'm asking, don't hit us so hard. I can afford it, but other people can't.
And again, I appreciate you saying that. And for everyone's information, we could wait another 10 years and go after another 24% increase. And I'm not saying that to be funny, but it's proving I want to kind of drive home a point, is that when you push off things, when you wait, when you continue to postpone things, that stuff gets more and more expensive, or then it comes back later, or there's something that's not taken care of. So it's having the ability or the courage. If we can take care of it now, then we need to get it done. And some of this stuff has been on the docks for years.
So we're going to move to the next public comment. Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. Thank you, Mr. Mariah. No problem. No, you cannot. I apologize. I have to move on. But we're available for you after this. Would there anybody else like to be heard on this item? All right, seeing none, the public comment is closed. Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Vignola is moving the item. It's been seconded by Commissioner Serra. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. 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 Any opposed? All right, carries unanimously. Next item, John?
Yep, thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance number 2019-124. This is the budget ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Coral Springs, Florida, finalizing and adopting the annual operating budget and capital improvement program for fiscal year 2019-20, reviewed, modified, and approved by the City Commission at meetings held on July 24, 2019, September 12, 2019, and September 18, 2019, which includes the budget for the general fund, water and sewer, fire, solid waste, charter schools, stormwater, public art, debt service, health and liability, equipment services, tree trust funds, and capital improvement program funds. Providing that in the event a variation from the total budget is or becomes necessary, this ordinance shall be amended only by a subsequent ordinance consistent with Chapter 166 Florida statutes, the Charter and Code of Ordinance of the City of Coral Springs, Florida. Providing for severability, providing for conflict, providing for effective date. This is a request from the mayor to hold a public hearing, approve, and adopt on second reading.
Great. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to be heard on this item? Item number 2, ordinance 2019-124, second reading. Yes, you may come on up.
Do I say my name again?
Please.
Yeah.
Okay. Harvey Brooks, address again?
Please.
Yeah, please.
637 Northwest 99th Terrace, Coral Springs, Florida. This is more of also a question, because I see stormwater in it again, so I've already addressed the stormwater. The charter school. Even though I am a 100% disabled vet, so I do not pay the regular taxes for school and all. So my question is, we're now paying taxes for private and public school, correct?
Not a private school, no.
Okay. All right. So, because, when you say charter school, it doesn't
private.
fall under the basic taxes, correct? Does it?
It's not considered a private school. It's a charter school. It's a public school. It's chartered under us. Okay. I don't know if, John, you want to explain a little bit more?
Yeah, a charter school is a public school, and the funding comes from the state for the students that are, however many students you have. For each student, you get money from the state, the same as a public school.
FTEs.
Yeah, right, FTEs, full-time. So that's where the money comes from. So it's not, there's not a separate tax that goes to the citizens of Coral Springs for our charter school.
So the regular taxes that personnel paying on a house for school, that goes to the county or the state?
Well, right, the county school board provides that money goes to the county school board. The county school board, though, through the state, provides funding. The state gives it to the school board gives it to us for funding for our FTEs, our full-time enrolls.
So both funds are going to the state and coming back, right? So saying, or the charter school is just basically from the city?
No, there's no money that the city takes in for the charter school. It's going through the state and the school board.
So both entities are going through the state, but we're paying different, you're paying two taxes, one tax for.
There's no, your taxes are not based on having a charter school at all. You'd be paying the same amount of money, whether we had a charter school or not, to the school board.
Okay, so, can you also tell me why, stormwater went up? Why did we have an increase this year for stormwater?
Absolutely, we can. Larry, you want to share?
Yeah, so, we didn't have a stormwater fee here in the city. We set the fee this year because honestly, you go around the city and some of our homeowners, some of our older communities and things, had issues with drainage and it wasn't properly being maintained. From the corporate park, there's some issues in areas out over there, and for 50 some odd years, the city didn't take care of those issues. It was always budgeted for, and like the gentleman said, you know, push projects down the road. That's what the city did for many, many years. There's things that we gotta go ahead and we gotta take care of. God forbid we see some major flooding like you've seen in other places, especially when you talk about storms and things like that could potentially hit the area. So it's really a life safety issue for me to go ahead and address that. So it's something that we have to come up with a funding mechanism for. The difference between doing it this way and doing it in the actual regular ad valorem millage is, if we did it in millage, my opinion is, I'm out of here in a year. I'm term limited. I've been here for almost 9 years now. If we go ahead and we were to raise the millage actual rate to handle that, my concern is that, you know, right now we say that's going to handle it, and I trust this commission would do that. However, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years from now, maybe the commission does like commissions in the past where they didn't address that issue. This locks it in where it can only be used for those types of items. And I think that's important. It's important for our residents and businesses that are in areas that don't drain properly.
And I agree, it is important, but like the gentleman said about that 6%, in which you can adjust in the price of stormwater, maybe it's $50 for the first year, and then you increase it in the next year. But to come solid with $127 spike, and that's a spike. It's kind of harsh. I just said it in short terms of fiscal restraint. I didn't go into depth of all the stuff you should be looking at. And I understand you don't want to kick nothing down the alley or down the road, but what the gentleman stated about 6%, 2%, you know, that's a great idea to look into, because that is a major spike. That's my comment.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brooks. Would there be anybody else from the public? You may come on up, Mr. Mariah.
Thank you very much. I wanted to finish the conversation. My name is Julio Barea, 5285 East Lakener Drive, Coral Springs. 1 year. I never said 10 years down the road. I never said anything more than 1 year. And I'll use the final example. The general fund's going up 3.9% this year, and it's going up 2.1% last year. Next year, what about 3 for 2 years? Thank you very much.
We respect you and we respect your opinion, and we're happy to serve you. Thank you for being here. Like to come up again? Please.
Robert Fogel, 10991 West 12th Drive, Coral Springs. In review of the past, and I said something very harsh about not having passion in the last few, maybe decade or so. But in review of the past, what should have happened, what could have happened, just in this building alone, this should have been a charter school, or move the library over there and refix, do something over there. And this building should have been put in the corporate park, where you have tons of space. And you would get more revenue by doing that. But because that's the kind of thinking that we had. We put up a $38 million building here, and you look at this place, it's good. And I don't know if it was necessary. I don't know if the egos ran away with it. So I said something very harsh before. And that's the kind of thinking that we need to change, in the sense that Julio's very, very accurate about what we can do for seniors here. 6% increase when there's deflation going on was announced today. Anybody listen to the The budget, I mean, not the budget, you know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry. It's impossible to have a 6% increase in this environment. I mean, it's a budget. Actual, budget versus actual, budget versus actual, plus or minus. Show the faults in what's going and where the money is being spent. And move money around. That's all, just make it happen. Thank you very much. I'm done.
Is there anyone else that likes to be heard, that would like to be heard? All right, our public comment is closed. It's been moved for approval by Commissioner Vignola. Second by Commissioner Simmons. Any discussion? All in favor, please go ahead.
I just want to thank budget and staff for all the work that went into this. I know everyone sits here and you think that we just kind of threw this together, but they've been working on this all year long. We had our first meeting dealing with the budget back in December. It's been a long, long process and a lot of hard work by all different department directors. And I know you might think that 6%'s a lot, you might think that some of the things are excessive, but I know the work that went in by staff to go ahead and go through line by line and really try to come up with a very solid and honest budget. So I wanted to thank you for that and all your hard work.
We all would reiterate that, Catherine, and for you and your team.
Michael.
Yep. Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, carries unanimously. Next, we're on to recognitions and proclamations. And the first is Diaper Need Awareness Week. Great. Hi there. Ashley, nice to meet you. Hi, nice to meet you. Come on in. So if you'll come on over. We have representatives of the Junior League of Boca Raton Diaper Bank, and I'll let you share a few words. I'll read the certificate that we're presenting to you. It's a special proclamation for Diaper Need Awareness Week. The Diaper Need Awareness Week serves the purpose of bringing to light the ongoing diaper need in our community. 1 out of 3 families struggle to buy diapers, and there are no government programs for the purchase or provision of them. The Junior League of Boca Raton Diaper Bank is the largest diaper bank in Broward and Palm Beach counties, and within the top 10% largest diaper banks in the country. Your partnership with local agencies serve over 800 babies per month and has distributed, that's a big number, more than 2 million diapers to families in need. And we applaud your efforts and wish you success. Therefore, we, the City Commission of Coral Springs, proclaim September 23 to 29 of this year as Diaper Need Awareness Week. Congratulations. Yeah, you can clap. Would you like to say? Yeah, and let us know your name and your role.
So my name is Ashley Craig. I am one of the co-chairs with the lovely Hannah Bradley of the Junior League of Boca Raton Diaper Bank. We have been serving the Diaper Bank and Junior League, we've been serving the Junior League of Boca Raton Diaper Bank for a year and a half. We serve over 23 different local nonprofits, serving 1,800 children. We distribute over 180,000 diapers every other month to families here in the community. 1 in 3 families in the U.S. are unable to afford to buy diapers. The challenge with that is that children are sitting in dirty diapers all day long, and they're more susceptible to issues and sickness and challenges and health issues. That being said, their parents then can't go to work because they're staying home. In order to have access to free child care centers, you have to be able to provide diapers to these child care centers. This is furthering the problem of the diaper need. So we thank you so much for this opportunity and recognizing the diaper need here in our community, and not even in just our community, nationally. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll take a picture. so welcome. I'll let you read. So our next, thank you, Sean. Our next proclamation is the city proclaiming the month of September as Suicide Prevention Month. So I'd like to call up Jackie Rosen and Harry Rosen from the Florida Initiative for Suicide Prevention to receive the proclamation. So nice to see you. Hi, Mayor. My pleasure. Nice to see you. So, Commissioner Sarah will read the proclamation in a moment, and then you'll have a chance to share. This is very important to me, having lost my mom to suicide about 32 years ago. And, you know, whatever we can do to save a life, to save one life, and to let somebody know that we care and we're there for them is so important. I can imagine that of everybody here in this room, my guess is at least 4 out of 5 is somehow affected by suicide, whether in your family, whether a friend, whether a colleague. And I think it's something that we need to be open about, as much as it may hurt. But it's also part of the healing if you're a survivor, if you've lost somebody to suicide. And unfortunately, that was one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, for Harry and Jackie to begin their role with the Florida Initiative for Suicide Prevention. So I'd like Commissioner Sarah to share the proclamation with you, hand it to you, and then please share about your efforts and what we can do to help our community.
Before I read the proclamation, I just want to thank both of you for the service that you have done over the years. I know losing your son was one of the hardest days of your lives, but you have saved so many people. And I just know when I was at Terravella, when we launched at Hope Club, and in the very first year we saved a life. And it was something that I'll never forget. So you guys are advocating for so many and fighting the good fight, and with your Hope Walk and every event that you guys put on, I encourage all of our residents to support and rally around you. And it's very real. And unfortunately, I was just talking to a neighbor of mine when I was living in Eagle Trace, and he just shared with me that his nephew just unfortunately committed suicide the other night. And he was living a good life and, you know, working hard, had a girlfriend, and the signs are not always there. And that's the big thing, is we got to eliminate the stigma, we got to get out there and educate people, but we also have to be aware of what's going on. So on behalf of the Coral Springs, City of Coral Springs, we want to issue this very special proclamation for Suicide Prevention Month. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in people between 10 and 34 years of age, and the 10th leading cause of death overall in the United States. Many people struggling with suicidal thoughts feel desperately alone, but suicide still remains a topic rarely discussed in many circles of our society. Every year, mental health organizations and individuals across the United States, like yourselves, and around the world, raise awareness of suicide prevention during September, which is National Suicide Prevention Month. We applaud your efforts and join you in this fight against suicide. Therefore, we, the City Commission of Coral Springs, proclaim September 2019 as Suicide Prevention Month.
Say a few words first, and then we'll take a picture.
31 years ago, we lost our son by suicide. I'm going to ask you all to get educated, to understand the signs so that you can save a life as well. And the other thing I want to ask you is to please do not say committed anymore, because that enhances the stigma. You would not say somebody commits cancer. Suicide is the result of a mental health issue, a brain disorder. So please, change the language and help us in any way that you can, either volunteering, we're in Sunrise, or by donating to us. We're having a wonderful event on October the 19th, and we'd love to have you all come. It's free. It's at the Broward College in Davie. and it's called Boost Your Brain. And it will tell you all about how you can help have a very healthy brain. It's an all-day event with breakfast and lunch free. Spread the news, share it with everybody you can, and please call FISP, the Florida Initiative for Suicide Prevention, if you or anyone else you know needs help. Thank you so very much for listening.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jay. Really appreciate it. Yeah, Harry, why don't you come on in and we'll be bookends, okay? Good. Good, all right. Well, thank you again.
My glasses.
Great, and please shake everybody's hand, if you don't mind. Thank you, Mayor. So good to see you. Mayor, would you shake everybody's hand? Would that be okay?
Good to see you.
Commissioner, would you join me for this one? Thank you, Commissioner. So our next proclamation is for International Day of Peace. So we have members of the Multicultural Advisory Committee coming on up to accept this. Please join us up front. Along with Anita Fraley, the program manager from Choose Peace, Stop Violence, United Way of Broward County. We have Cynthia Tapia Rodriguez, a family counselor, School Climate and Discipline from the School Board of Broward County. And Melissa Sosa, programs manager, Children's Services, Council of Broward County. So I'll share a little bit, and then Commissioner Simmons will share the proclamation. In 1981, the United Nations proclaimed September 21 as the International Day of Peace throughout the world. And here in the city, we acknowledge and endorse the growing support within our city to observe this day. And we encourage all of you, all of our residents, to find ways to establish peace in their homes, in our community, and in our workplaces. We proudly partner with Broward County United Way School Board and CSC, Children's Services Council, to promote the movement.
All right, special proclamation for International Day of Peace. As peace remains humanity's guiding inspiration, we encourage residents to join the United Nations in Coral Springs in celebrating September 21st, 2019 as the 37th International Day of Peace. We encourage residents to help establish peace in their homes, community, and workplaces. Therefore, we, the City Commission of Coral Springs, proclaim September 21st, 2019 as International Day of Peace. Thank you.
Sure. So thank you. Would you like to say a few words, Anita?
I can say a few words. Choose Peace, Stop Violence is an initiative. Choose Peace, Stop Violence is an initiative in the Broward County schools, only in Broward County schools. It's completely unique, and it's supported by United Way and CSC. Currently, we have 15 schools that have Agents of Change peace clubs that promote a positive climate in their schools. One of them is Coral Glades High School. This is also the 10th year that we are celebrating Peace Across Broward Peace Week, which starts on the 20th of September through the 27th. And I want to thank the City of Coral Springs, because the City of Coral Springs has been on board with this initiative for 10 years, from the early days that it started, and it's always supported it. And we've come every year to accept the peace proclamation. So we thank you very much for your support.
It's our pleasure. So we also are celebrating this, I believe, this Friday morning at 7:45 at our Peace Garden, which is in front of our Museum and Performing Arts Center. So if you'd like to join us, Joyce, can you tell us a little bit about the celebration?
Yes, we here in Coral Springs are celebrating International Day of Peace on Friday, as the mayor said, although the actual day is on Saturday, the 21st, internationally. You are all invited to join us on Friday at the Peace Garden. The ceremony will start at 7:45. It's not a very long program. It'll probably end around 8:30. But it is a very moving, meaningful program which many of our school children will be attending. We encourage everybody in the community. We've offered various options to celebrate the day. The kids will prepare pinwheels for peace, and they come and plant them in the garden. If they cannot come, they do it at their own locations. We also encourage residents to perform random acts of kindness towards one another, something you don't always do or think about. Wear white that day to symbolize peace. What else? We have trees, wish tags that you can write your little wish for peace and hang it on a tree, whether it's in your backyard or we have one at City Hall, we have one in the library, and there are various ways to celebrate the day. I mean, if you want to come out, again, it's on Friday morning at 7:45. We'd love to see you there.
Great. Thank you so much, Joyce. Thanks for your leadership with this. Thank you. And we'll take a picture, but I think we need to move over a little bit more. And tight, okay. All right, all eyes on me. Big smiles. Great. Thank you. Congratulations. Good to meet you. Good to see you. How are you? Nice to see you. Life treating you well? Great. Thank you. Thank you. We will see you in person. Yeah. Thank you so much, Joyce. I appreciate you. All right, Joe. Good to see you. Thanks for All right, our last recognition is the Budget and Strategy Team. You guys are awesome. Come on up. Yeah, give them a round of applause. So as their team is coming up, the City of Coral Springs recognizes our Budget and Strategy Team for receiving the International City County Management Association, ICMA, Certificate of Distinction in Performance Management. This award is given to local governments who collect and verify data to ensure reliability, train staff in performance measurement, and report the data to the public through budgets, newsletters, and/or information provided to us, the elected officials. And you do such a great job through the entire year. You really help make our budget process as seamless and as easy as it is, even though it is not easy and it's not seamless. And Catherine, thank you for your leadership. So I'll have Commissioner Simmons read the proclamation and get a little bit closer to us, okay?
All right, special recognition for the Department of Budget and Strategy. Congratulations on receiving the International City/County Management Association Certificate of Distinction in Performance Management. Your dedication to fiscal responsibility and accountability is a model for organizations nationwide. We are proud of your accomplishments and honor your department for its 13th consecutive year of this achievement. So, congratulations.
Awesome.
Sure. This is something that the team has been outstanding on, and I want to say thank you very much to the leadership that we have with Mike and with the commission, of course, for giving us the resources to be able to do this. Truly, it's an amazing honor that we continuously give, so it's absolutely incredible to receive it year after year after year. We're most proud for the employees that every work plan that is out there goes to be able to support every department key performance indicator that rolls up into the strategic goals and to the mission. So it truly is a group effort for every employee in Coral Springs that we receive this, and it's because of them doing their jobs the way they do, and the way we capture it is why we receive this award. So thank you very much for everybody else. Does everyone just go on down the line and say your name, because you've all done something for this?
My name's Tyler. I'm the person you guys call on the trim notice.
My name is Brett. I'm the management assistant.
My name is Ronald Gomez. I am the financial business analyst.
Lori Bashara, budget business partner.
Kristen Holowicki, grants manager.
Ana Fernandez, principal office assistant.
Marissa Williams, budget analyst.
Justin Coles, budget manager.
Mayor Brook, big fan.
So let's get a little tighter for a picture.
First day, where do you go from here?
Not a bad first day. Congratulations, good job. Congratulations, Catherine. Thank you, Commissioner. All right, next item is item number 7, ordinance 2019-117, first reading amending Chapter 2 Administration, Article 2 Code of Ethics. John?
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Coral Springs, Florida, amending Chapter 2 Administration, Article 2 Code of Ethics of the Code of the City of Coral Springs, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Mayor, we need to open up to the public, but just briefly, this was sent out at the request of commissioners at workshops, and this was passed, and Mayor Brook signed it in 2003. And since then, there's been obviously several changes to the Broward County Ethics Ordinance. So my office did make some minor changes just to change the definition to the City Commission and also to reference the Broward County Ethics Ordinance. So we got some input with some changes that you'll see there. But this is uniquely your ordinance, whatever you want to have in there. Those that make the changes can obviously speak to them. But Mayor, if you'd first open it to the public.
Sure. There anybody from the public like to be heard on this? All right, seeing none, the public hearing's closed. I hear a motion. Move to approve by Commissioner Simmons.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Carter. Any discussion? So I like that we've added under continuous improvement, promoting diversity and inclusiveness and being committed to equity and equality for all, and being committed to promote environmental responsibility and sustainability. I love that I think we might be one of the first cities to have had an ethics ordinance, and we were happy to update it today. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, carries unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Next is ordinance 2019-120, public hearing for increase in sewerage service rates and water rates.
This is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Coral Springs, Florida, amending the Land Development Code of the City of Coral Springs to increase certain sewerage service rates and water rates, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is second reading, so we're asking to approve and adopt, but we're also requesting to have a public hearing on this first, Mayor.
Sure. Would anyone from the public like to be heard on this? All right, public hearing is closed. If you want to be heard, you have to come to the mic. And again, please let us know your name and your address.
Robert Fogel, Coral Springs, 10991 Northwest 12th Drive. Just a simple question. What is this about? Why is the increase happening and what's necessary?
Anybody like to respond? Okay.
I It's
didn't
not
read
an-
it anywhere, that's why I'm asking.
I'm sorry, the stormwater fee is not an increase, it's a newly established rate, and as Commissioner Vignola had explained earlier about correcting some of the flooding issues that we have in the city, in neighborhoods, we do, maybe not your neighborhood, but we do have neighborhoods that have flooding issues, in the corporate park also. And not only that, in the sewer?
This is the sewerage rates. Mike, I don't know if you want anyone to come up, or, I mean, the agenda talks about the study that occurred.
Yeah, I would think that whenever we're done with the public hearing on this, that if the commission has questions for staff, we can come up.
You got it.
And answer any of those questions.
Sure, you got it.
But the agenda item that's publicly posted has a lot of really good information in it.
It does, yeah.
That gives all the background, and we've workshopped this and met on this for years and have had a number of public meetings on it.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Recommendation, some of these issues, is there pamphlets outside that?
Yeah, you got to give me a call. I'm going to share with you a lot about the process, how you can get involved and engaged long before coming here. And then come here too.
Okay.
I'm happy to
I need
chat
be in
with
the
you.
blind, but it feels like, all right, thank you.
Would anybody else from the public like to be heard on this item? All right, seeing none, the public comment is closed. Any questions of staff? Okay, is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, carries unanimously. Thank you. Next is the consent agenda. Are there any pulls?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I have a few pulls.
Okay,
actually.
sure.
I'd like to pull 17, 19, and 24.
17,
24 also.
19, 24. Okay. Any other polls? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the rest?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Carries unanimously. Next item is item number 17, Resolution 2019-049. You can take that away, Commissioner Simmons.
1 second.
Sure.
Trying to get to it in the backup. All right. First, I'd like to say thank you to John Hearn, Sherry Whitaker, and the City Attorney's Office for working on this. I think we had a commission meeting right after the shootings in El Paso and Dayton, Ohio. And so, while we are still preempted by the state to take any action on anything dealing with guns and ammunition or anything like that, I still wanted us to do something, make some kind of statement, make some kind of show that as our community, that this city really wants to see some action in real substantive ways. And I'm not here to get into any kind of ideological battles with anyone. I really don't care to hear it. What I care about doing is saving lives. And, this resolution is going to get sent to Tallahassee and DC to let them know that this community that was affected, along with our neighboring city, Parkland, and our region from the tragedy at Stoneman Douglas, that we are looking for ways to find a way to keep our people safe. And so if you'll bear with me, I'm going to read our whereas clauses in this. Whereas in 1987, the Florida legislature passed section 790.33, Florida statutes, which declared that the legislature occupies the whole field of regulation of firearms and ammunition and preempts local governments from any type of regulation of the field of firearms and ammunition. Whereas since that time, there have been many tragic mass shootings throughout the United States, including the following described below. Whereas on April 20th, 1999, a mass shooting occurred at Columbine High School in Colorado, causing 13 individuals to lose their lives. Whereas on July 29th, 1999, 12 individuals were killed during a mass shooting in Atlanta. Whereas on April 16th, 2007, 32 individuals lost their lives at a mass shooting on the campus of Virginia Tech University. Whereas on November 5th, 2009, 13 individuals and an unborn child lost their lives in a mass shooting in Fort Hood, Texas. Whereas on July 20th, 2012, a mass shooting occurred inside a movie theater in Aurora, Colorado, wherein 12 individuals lost their lives. Whereas on December 14th, 2012, 26 individuals, including 20 children between 6 and 7 years old, lost their lives in a senseless and violent attack at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Whereas on September 16, 2013, 12 individuals lost their lives in a mass shooting inside the Washington Navy Yard. Whereas on December 2nd, 2015, 14 individuals lost their lives in a mass shooting in San Bernardino, California. Whereas on June 12, 2016, 49 individuals lost their lives in a mass shooting in Orlando, Florida at Club Pulse. Whereas on October 1st, 2017, 58 individuals lost their lives in a mass shooting in Las Vegas, Nevada. Whereas on November 5th, 2017, 26 individuals lost their lives at a church in Sutherland Springs, Texas. Whereas on February 14th, 2018, 17 individuals lost their lives in a senseless and violent attack at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. Whereas on November 7th, 2018, 12 individuals lost their lives in a mass shooting at Thousand Oaks, California. Whereas on May 31st, 2019, a mass shooting occurred in Virginia Beach City Building, causing 12 individuals to lose their lives. Whereas on August 3rd, 2019, 22 individuals lost their lives in a mass shooting at a Walmart store in El Paso, Texas. Whereas on August 4th, 2019, 9 individuals lost their lives in a mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio. Whereas on August 31st, 2019, 7 individuals lost their lives in a mass shooting in Odessa and Midland, Texas. Whereas the City Commission, in light of the above events and other mass shootings, urges the United States Congress and Florida Legislature to enact further restrictions and regulations concerning firearms, bullets, and ammunition, and apparel which make a weapon more deadly. This is not an exhaustive list. These are just examples. These aren't all of them. We didn't talk about what happened in South Carolina when Dylan Ruth decided to go in and kill a bunch of people in the middle of their prayer. We're not talking about what happened at the synagogue in Pittsburgh. We're not talking about, enough has to be enough at some point. If there were more, I would have read them all. We have to do something, seriously, people. And you know what? Maybe it'll fall on deaf ears. I don't know. But that doesn't mean we stop fighting. That doesn't mean we stop trying. There's so many more we could have added to this list. I appreciate the commission, the city attorney's office, and staff for supporting this resolution, and hopefully we'll continue to find efforts to figure out what to do. And also, before I end on this note, this doesn't get to the everyday gun violence in Black and brown communities throughout the United States. There's so much work we have to do. And we can't only talk about it when a shooting happens, or when something happens, or when lives are lost. We need to do it while people are still here and still alive so that we can save more lives and not put anyone, none of our first responders or anyone else, none of our children in any danger like that anymore. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your commitment. Would you like to make the motion?
Move to approve.
Second. Moved and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. 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 Carries unanimously. Thank you. Commissioner, you also pulled number 19.
Yes. All right, so to my colleagues, I apologize. I missed this on September 4th meeting as far as kind of what, I guess, happened as far as signing on to being a part of this. I have no problem with us being a part of the Florida Hate Crime or anything that will us show that we are in support of a community and that we are against hate or anything of that nature. However, I need to take this moment to remind all of us that we are part of a body. We are 5 equal parts, and that we have to make sure that we follow the proper protocols and procedures when we want to show our support for something. I imagine that certain things weren't done on purpose, and we're all entitled to make mistakes, but I just want to make sure that we are reminded that we are 5 equal parts and we all work together. None of us can move without the other, and I want us to remember that going forward in the future.
I got you, and I apologize. And I do apologize, too, because I should have made it clear to our residents that when you're here for public comment, we are not required to engage in back and forth. And tonight, we went a little beyond, some little courtesy and was intended, but next time and every time, I will make the preface, so that can be clear. So I apologize to my colleagues for not doing the preface tonight. Would you like to make the motion?
Move to approve.
Second? Okay, any discussion?
Second me.
Vice Mayor was the second. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, carries unanimously. Next item that you pulled, Commissioner Sarah, is number 23.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Brooke. I just wanted to thank staff for a clarification yesterday. I know I had some questions around this. The big thing for me is, you know, we have a vision moving forward, and you guys have done a phenomenal job. I'm still pretty passionate about adding our efficiency for Wi-Fi, which is a separate issue that you educated me on. But the big thing here is I just wanted to applaud your work, your efforts, and your vision for moving this forward.
I think that's great that you pulled it for that. Thank you, Commissioner. Would you like, so that you have a motion, Sean?
So moved, yes.
Okay.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Carries unanimously. Larry, I believe you got the next one?
On the sports policy revisions in the backup on page 7 at the top, it says, additionally, majority of voting members of the board shall be Coral Springs residents. I believe at our workshop, we had changed that to 90% of the board members. So I would like to move that with that change at 90% for the board members, but I know Commissioner Simmons also, I believe, wanted to discuss that item.
I see it on oh, I'm looking at page 6. We're on page 7?
On page 7, the first paragraph, the third line down, midway through the middle of that line, it says, additionally, a majority of the voting members of the board shall be Coral Springs residents. We workshop discussed in changing that to 90% of the voting board members.
You let me know, Commissioner Simmons, when you're there, and
I'm
Page
trying to get.
517 on the
so far
computer.
down.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. I see you looking. I'm sorry.
Page 7.
Hit the little line.
Yeah, I got you. Where, what,
If you hit the lines over here, you go by item, just so you know, but
so page, you had 515?
517,
517, sorry.
third line down, midway through, you'll see the new sentence starts with additionally.
And majority of the voting members of the board shall be Coral Springs.
And that change was supposed to be made, and unfortunately, we just overlooked
You're
with
saying
all
in
the
keeping
changes.
with the 90-10?
Sorry?
You're saying in keeping with the 90-10?
Well, this would be adding it for the board members. So
Oh.
the 90-10 was across the board regardless on the actual league, but this is for the board members.
I am recalling that that's what was our discussion.
And staff agrees, they know. I spoke with them earlier about this.
Melissa?
Support the change
Okay,
and apologize.
thank you, Melissa.
There's a lot of
Commissioner
change, a lot of
Simmons,
hard
did
work
you
went into this.
Yeah, so nothing really structural, but I just wanted to know how outreach has been going with the changes. The only reason why I asked is just because I don't know if any of you have been getting multiple calls and messages about all the misconceptions and miscommunications that are out there about the changes to the sports policy. I know that once I spent some time talking to people on the phone about this, they were like, oh, okay, makes sense. But unfortunately, people have added their own numbers to the changes. So.
Yes, we had a Sports Coalition meeting a week ago, Monday, and we had all but 2 of the recognized sports leagues at the meeting. They were all informed about the changes, and they're all understand them and had no issues, and the others out to as well.
All right, and if I may, I actually, I received a call from someone that, and I know we talked about the unorganized groups that, come out and play, they play unorganized, but they're organized in a way, right? And this person, they had, said that they've been at J.C. Park for 10 years. Once I explained everything to them, they understood. And they said they'd go back and talk to everybody and let them know as far as, getting a permit for that field. What are we doing with those types of groups? Like, how are we, maybe well-meaning people, how are we, I guess, approaching them in a way that's not necessarily confrontational and not trying to run them away, but just letting them know, these are the changes and this is why?
Well, as once the policy's approved, we'll be working with all the staff within the Parks and Recreation Department. There'll be a learning curve. We'll be, approaching groups that are out on the fields and letting them know what the policy changes are and moving forward, that they'll either be required to have a permit or not, and what the changes to the policy would be. So, we're not going to go out immediately and start kicking people off the fields. We're going to work with them to get them understand what the new policy is and get them where they need to be.
Thank you.
Rick, if you hadn't thought about it, I would certainly put in Sports and Activities Directory that's run by Kim Cadell. It goes out to all the schools, the public schools here in Coral Springs, amongst whatever other publications. But I think that's a good one to share.
Okay, sure.
Any further discussion on this? Yes.
I just wanted to thank Rick, Melissa, and Mike. I know a lot of time and effort went into this over probably a little over a year and a half. And I do appreciate it, and it does mean a lot, so.
So
I'll
thank
move
you.
it. Thanks.
All right, it's moved by Commissioner Vignola.
Actually, I have a comment as well.
You can, but we can do a second and have discussion.
Okay, second.
Second, discussion.
Rick, I also want to echo Commissioner Vignola's kudos. You guys have done a great job. I will go to Commissioner Simmons' comment that I did receive a call this weekend, and it was a reoccurring renter, and I was pleased to hear that when they went in to fill out the paperwork that they were being educated on the changes and why they were being made. So they weren't necessarily 100% happy about it, but at least we're doing that outreach as they are coming in. And I will say that if there is something that we can give them that will share, do they get like some type of pamphlet flyer or like a summary of what the changes are so that they can walk away? Because I know that it's easy to just refer them online, but they're going back to a field and they've got 20, 30 people that are impacted, and it might be easier than scrolling on a cell phone. So I'm just wondering if that's a possibility.
Yeah, we can put something together because I think some of it is the sports policy and some of the fees and charges changes as well. So we've been trying to educate the groups that have been our regulars on the fees and charges. And now that the sports policy, once it's approved, then we'll go ahead and put some highlights on there and make sure those groups can do it as well.
Yeah, my request would be more just on the reoccurring, just average resident type situation.
Yeah, we'll put together a little one-page thing that we can hand out as needed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. Any further discussion? Okay, so Larry, I also want to say thanks for your leadership with this, attention to detail, and dialogue with us about it. I appreciate it. Thank you. You bet. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, carries unanimously. We are on to Commissioner Communications. Who would like to go first?
I think we let Joy.
All right, how about you, Vice Mayor?
Okay.
I hope you feel better.
Thank you. Joys of traveling. I just want to remind everybody that there is a reception tomorrow night at the Coral Springs Museum for Darren Ortiz, and it is free for attendance, and there are light snacks and paid beverages available, so please come and enjoy the mix and mingle. Also, I want to make one more reminder of Mayor Brooks and Commissioner Simmons when they introduced the International Peace Week. Please do join us this Friday morning at 7:45 a.m. in a peaceful celebration at the International Peace Garden, which is located next to the Coral Springs Museum. And if you have questions or compliments about your city and how it's run and things you don't understand or things you'd like to know more information on, next week on Thursday, right? 9/26?
Yes.
Is the Slice of the Springs meeting at 7 p.m. here at City Hall, or you can join us on the Facebook Live. And if anytime you need to reach me, I'm at 954-991-4186 or Joy Carter at coralsprings.org. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. All right, how about you, Commissioner?
I talked enough tonight, but I'll keep my comments short. Bites and Sips, I had a bunch of friends that went to the event. It was a really great event for them. I unfortunately was out of town. It got rescheduled when I had already made my plans to go out of town, but I appreciate also using that event as a vehicle to raise funds for the Bahamas Relief. I really appreciate the staff being responsive and flexible in making that transition for that. So, you know, keep these events going. They're great. People love them. They're getting bigger and bigger. And these friends weren't even in Broward County. They were in Miami, and they came up. So that was really great. To a more general announcement, to all the people that are working on voter engagement right now, voter registration, or any kind of activities related to voter engagement, I see you. Keep working. Keep working. All right? Your hard work does not go unnoticed. We see it. And the last thing I want to say is thank you to Randy. Randy has taken on an enormous task, and I appreciate her constant following up with me to make sure that I'm on track. I know it's difficult trying to wrangle all of our schedules while making sure that we're following up with the things we need to. But I just want to let you know that I know, and I know I'm not alone, but I appreciate your efforts, and I appreciate you, you know, working with us and you know, staying on top of us. So thank you, Randy. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Would you like to go next, Commissioner?
I guess, so I'm a little off today. When we ran for office, a lot of people that help you and you know, help you along, and tons of volunteers and things, whatever. But there's usually a small group of people that really make a difference. And I wouldn't be here without one of them who passed away a year ago today. You pray, please pray for the family of Mike Metnick. Thank you.
Just, I'm asking for a moment at this time for everybody. Thank you, Commissioner. My heart's with you and Mike's family. Commissioner Sarah?
Along those lines, I also want to echo the sentiment of Commissioner Vignola and expand it a little bit around 9/11. You know, I'll never forget where I was on 9/11/2001, and I'm very proud that the city never forgets. And we recently had a wreath ceremony here, and it's something that every resident, every person within our country should really, you know, kind of reflect on and remember, because I know on that particular day, you know, there were a lot of people that were concerned and scared and just thinking that our world had changed, and it definitely did. But to see two of my families that within Terravelle get fractured and lose loved ones, I never thought that that would be possible. So, you know, I applaud the efforts and the remembrance of staff for the special event, and I'm pretty proud that we really strive to support those people that were impacted on that day. I also had a very neat experience. I went out to the Waste Management Recycling Center, and I encourage, I'm not sure if you guys have gone out there, but that was pretty eye-opening. You know, I learned all about contamination and how the process works, and I was amazed to see what kind of things were coming out of recycling bins, from shoes to carpets to really big Gatorade thermoses. None of this stuff can be recycled, and to see people sifting through it and trying to make you know, heads and tails from it made me come back and want to put this as part of our strategic plan conversation in October. You know, with the contamination rate that's pretty competitive, I guess, in Broward County of 38%, I think we could do better. And I know that when I went home, I quickly educated my wife, because I guess we weren't recycling properly. We were not necessarily doing our part. So if I'm doing it and I'm kind of crazy about it, I think that every resident can work towards it. And it kind of goes to, you know, our speakers, Harvey, Robert, and Julio, who took the time out of their lives to come here and speak today. That's part of the reason why we all ran. I know specifically for me, the resident voice is very important. And you talk about, you know, being fiscally responsible and bringing passion back to the city. I know that each one of my colleagues has that in their heart and in their mind, and I'm really super excited, like I said, to get to our retreat. But we do have to do a better job with the recycling, and I'm hoping to have a pretty deep conversation about that and how we can improve. But I will compliment our marketing team on the efforts that they are putting out there, because you guys are doing your part. It's just that we got to better educate the residents, because I even watched your video and I was still doing it wrong. So we got to figure out a way. I also wanted to thank all of our businesses within the city. One of the things that I'm kind of enjoying with my new role is trying to meet the business owners when I go into those establishments, and I'm really trying hard to stay in Coral Springs. But the big thing is, I know that we have Business Appreciation Month, but we really should be working hard to recognize our businesses on a regular basis. And I enjoyed my conversation recently with Cindy Brief, and I want to applaud her leadership within the chamber. Joy, I have my notes from the Broward City. I did enjoy that, so thanks for the opportunity to go to that meeting. And for all the residents out there, if you need to reach me, my cell phone number is 954-612-7114. Thank you.
Thank you. So I am moved, by today's meeting, by our commitment to suicide prevention, with Commissioner Vignola recognizing that this is a year anniversary of a passing of somebody that we loved here in the city. I just think it's so important for us to be kind and really take the extra effort to reach out, to make sure somebody that we care about, maybe somebody that we don't know, how are you today? And got to have conversation. We have to be open and open-minded, and not be so quick to judge. And I tell you, a while back I had a couple buddies, long story short, for a little while they both disappeared. And I learned later, not from them sharing with me, but from my understanding of depression, they disappeared because of depression. So as Jackie Rosen was saying before about suicide, you do not choose suicide. You do not choose to have a mental disorder. You do not choose to have depression or anxiety. And for those that have it, we shouldn't be judging them. For those that have it, we should be extending ourselves. And if we have it, you should know you're not alone. You're not alone. So I just want to say thank you to my mom for everything she gave to me over the course of her years. And for those that have dealt with losing a loved one to suicide, I want you to know that there's hope. Because you can practice focusing on that person's life, the lessons and the memories, and nobody can take that from you. And you can go one day at a time. And at times you might have to go 1 hour at a time. That's okay. And it should be okay for us to admit that we're not okay at times, because that's how we're going to move forward. And if we really want to be frank and open and honest, we got to step up. We are the city of Coral Springs. Right, this is a very unique city. I've never met so many passionate people about their city, including people that only work here and don't live here. So I'm just urging everybody, extend a hand, be a little bit kinder, and if you're already there, just keep doing it. And I love our commission meeting tonight, because I really think that we listen. We're not arguing. We're not being disrespectful. How Commissioner Simmons is reminding me I'm part of the team. I am. And when I make a mistake, Commissioner Simmons will share with me, hey, Mayor, kindly, respectfully, and I think with love, you made a mistake. And I think that's great. I think that's leadership. When I did something else this evening and Commissioner Vignola is redirecting me, I think that's great. And I think I'm part of an amazing team. We had a great first budget hearing. I feel great about this second budget hearing. I feel great that we had Harvey and Robert and Julio share with us, and we can hear them, and we don't have to make them feel wrong or bad. Robert's still here. So I want to thank everybody here for doing everything you do for our community. It doesn't go unnoticed. We're part of something very special, and I am very honored to be a teammate with you guys. So on that note, I'll just end. I have office hours in October every Friday, and please call Randy, who's doing a wonderful job and helping keep me in order too, at 954-344-5906 to make an appointment. That's the best way, but you can also reach me by cell phone at 954-696-7599. And that's all I have. We're on to you, Mike.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to thank Catherine and her staff. They do a tremendous job and make this budget process the success that it is. Also, thank all of our directors, because the reality is many of our directors manage departments that have more staff and funding and complexity than many cities in this state. And so they do a tremendous job, and it's really a group. And then also the commission, I know you started working on this really last October. So
yes,
all the work you put into it, and in the public comments, and all the public that are engaged and have been calling and asking questions, it's a critical part, in all of our committees that we're involved in as well. So big success. Thanks to all.
You know, Mike, you reminded me, I think with the comments that you made, Abe, and some others, I think you'll see with us being age-friendly and wanting that recognition, I think you'll see us putting forth more programs and more connections to and with our seniors, and you'll see some great benefits. That's what I anticipate, Abe, and everybody else. John?
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Okay. We are adjourned. Our next regular meeting is Wednesday, October 2nd, right here at 9 a.m. Have a great evening.